Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a couple weeks since I've done a Facebook Live, and I decided to come on today. I really wasn't sure what I was going to talk about, but I really want to talk about being real. So, this month, October, I decided to do an interview series from my YouTube channel. And I'm sure, if you're a fan here of the page, or if you're, subscribed to my YouTube channel, you will have seen the videos. And it's a series of videos about domestic violence awareness, because in the U.S., October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And when I decided to do the interview series, I thought I would just get a couple people and, that it would be okay. But I have had so many people contact me about being interviewed for the series. I tried to fit in as many as I could. And they'll continue to be posted on my page and on my YouTube channel until October 31st. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about last Thursday, I really wanted to come and, do a live, but I had gone into someone else's Facebook group and posted that I was looking for something or for someone to be, part of the series. And someone verbally attacked me. And it triggered me, triggered me so much that I literally spent the entire day crying because I started to doubt myself. I started to question myself, and I was questioning things that I'd done, my actions, my reactions. And because I was, questioning and doubting myself, it was making me feel really bad because I started to feel like I was a horrible person and I'd done some horrible things. And, these things come up. It's something that's going to happen. There are going to be things that are going to come up for you, things that trigger you, things that people do, things that people say. And I've said it before in plenty of other videos, like there's so much crap that's like buried deep down inside of us. Half the time we don't even know it's there. One of the things that I have found, going through this interview series and talking with a lot of people, is listening to the people's stories. It's bringing up for me a lot of repressed memories of childhood trauma and then adult relational trauma, and things that I had, kept hidden from myself or, forced myself to forget about. And it's been really stressful. I'm not going to lie. This month has been an emotional roller coaster for me. And I have been physically and mentally and emotionally exhausted. But I wouldn't change it for anything, because these stories need to be heard and they need to be told and they need to be out there in the world for people to understand that this is, a big problem that really needs to be understood. And so, one of the things that I've done is, I've reached out to some of my friends for comfort. I've reached out to some of my friends for, I don't want to say that it was for, I'm trying to think of a really good word for it, for like approval or validation. Because, I try not to seek outside validation, but the day that I was triggered, because I was questioning myself and because I started doubting myself, I did reach out to a couple people and I asked them, and these are people who are really good friends of mine who have known me for a long time. And I asked them, like, based on what this conversation that I had with this person was, this person who knows absolutely nothing about me, but just made a snap judgment based on something he thinks he knows. And I said, do you really think that I am this way? Because I can kind of see it. If I look back, and that's the thing. So, if somebody says something to us, particularly if you've been someone who's been abused, you start to think that you were wrong. We are told that we were wrong, that everything we've done is wrong, that, we're responsible for things even though we're not. And so, we get to the point where we really believe that everything is our fault, even if it's not. And so to this day, like, you can ask my husband, he'll tell you, I apologize for everything. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm constantly apologizing for things that aren't my fault, because my entire life I have been forced to take the blame for things that I was not responsible for. So I just automatically assume that I'm responsible for it. And I just say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your life is fucked up. I'm tired. I'm sorry that, things didn't work out the way you wanted them to, even though it has nothing to do with me and I have no bearing on anything. It's just the way that that's just the way that I've been conditioned. And so, when this guy said this stuff to me, I, again, started questioning myself. And then I started thinking, you know what, maybe he's right. Maybe I am this horrible person. Maybe I am this awful person. I did say this one thing this one time that could be construed as something that could be absolutely taken, the wrong way. And so, like, I started apologizing to my husband, like, I'm so sorry, I'm a horrible wife. I've done all these awful things to you. And, and then he's like, well, if you've done these awful things, that I'm just as guilty too, because I've done them too. And so is everybody else in the world. And it didn't make me feel better, because I'm like in my head thinking you're a horrible person. And so then my monkey mind gets involved and starts saying, yeah, you really are a horrible person. I can't believe you said that to him. I can't believe you said that to her. I can't believe you did this. And then it tells you, oh, hey, you remember this time when you also did this? And then do you remember this time? And then do you remember this time? And it heaps all this horrible crap on you. And so you start to feel even worse. And you start to just spiral out of control into just this, the negative deep dive of awfulness that, can be this huge well of negativity that's buried in your head. And sometimes that can be really, really hard to get out of. It took me about 36 hours to finally get to the point where, and then I wanted to go back and tell the guy he was wrong and prove to him that I was right and he was wrong. And I could have done so many different things, but I learned that I just had to let it go. I could have told him that he triggered me and that he forced me to do this and maybe try to make him feel bad. But honestly, that isn't going to solve anything. It's not going to make anything better. And honestly, it could probably make the situation worse. So, I thought about provoking him, or about trying to make him feel bad for, making me feel bad. And, negativity doesn't solve anything. It never solves any problem. So it took me, again, like, I reached out to some people and I was like, look, this is what I'm struggling with and I need your help. Please tell me that even if you think I'm a horrible person, please tell me I'm not a horrible person. Just because I am in this like really, really deep pit of despair and I need help climbing out of it. I need someone, to help me climb out and, feel better. And, they reminded me, the people that I talked to, of some of the, wonderful things that I've done. And yes, I've done some horrible things. Yes, I have said some horrible things. I am not perfect. I have never, ever claimed to be perfect. And even though I try to be perfect, I know perfection isn't attainable. And I'm working on trying to stop being a perfectionist. But because I accept that I am who I am and that I've done what I've done and that nothing in the past can be changed, and I've worked really hard to atone for some of the wrongdoings I've done in my life, I understand that I've done the best that I could. with the knowledge that I had at the time, and I just need to let it go and to move on. And, I've gotten to the point now where, I'm okay with what happened. It doesn't mean it's acceptable, but I'm okay with it, and I'm able to move forward. But I wanted to use that as an example for, being real. Like, you know, we're all human. We all have emotions. We all have things that we struggle with. We all have triggers. We all have people that push our buttons. And the thing is that people can't drive you crazy if you don't give them the keys. So, one of the things that I could have done the first time he said something, I could have just ignored it. But I didn't, because my ego needed to prove him wrong and prove me right. Like, I needed to be right and make him wrong. And to help him understand that he took things out of context. And so, we went back and forth a couple times, and it escalated. And of course, since it escalated, my feelings escalated, and then my thoughts just started feeling worse. And it just it turned into this huge snowball from hell. And I should have just let it go from the beginning. I should have just ignored it. I should have just turned off notifications for the post because it was on Facebook, so I didn't even get notified if he responded. But I kept staying in it. And because I was staying in it to begin with, like, that just drug me in further and made it worse. So, the situation is that, like, life is what it is. We're all real, we're all human, and we all struggle. And there is no shame in struggle. There is no shame in being vulnerable. There is no shame in having negative feelings, because we all do. The thing is that in order to be a better person, we need to switch our thoughts or shift our thoughts from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. So the people that I reached out to, that I asked for help, instead of pointing out all the things that I've done wrong, they started pointing out all the things that I've done right. Because again, your brain will never tell you any good thing that you've ever done. Never. It'll never be like, oh my God, remember the time you were this great, and this time that you looked awesome, and this time your hair was perfect, and this time that so-and-so liked you and you really wanted them to. And it'll never tell you anything good. All it tells you is all the bad, every negative thing. And so they took the place of pointing out all the good and reminding me of all these good things, and things like that. So it just made my life a lot better at that point. And so, if you're getting to a point where something happens and you feel down, or you feel negative, or you feel upset, or you feel pissed off because somebody's doing something, somebody said something, and you're really having a hard time dealing with the emotions, reach out to someone and just say, hey, this person said something, and do you really think that, and honestly, don't ask this question if you don't want the honest answer. Like, really don't ask this question if you don't want the honest answer, because sometimes if you ask people to be honest with you, and you're unwilling to accept the response and the responsibility for making changes, if the answer you get isn't the one that you want, then you shouldn't ask the question. But we should be asking the questions, particularly the really hard questions, if we're trying to be better people, if we're trying to shift our behaviors, if we're trying to do things differently so that we can have different responses. So, like, one of the things that I do, and I am completely open and honest about it. It's a conditioned thing that I I struggle with. I really do struggle with it. And sometimes I criticize my husband. It's not on purpose. It's just one of those things that it's so ingrained in me that it's really, really difficult to control. And I'm trying. I use mindfulness as a practice, but then I tell people look, if you hear me, and he knows, if I say anything that is too critical, please let me know so that I can recognize what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And then I can try in the future to stop it from happening, because, we all judge people, right? I mean, it's just the way we are. We're human. We judge people, but we need to shift from judgment and criticism to better thoughts, right? So every time I want to, judge him or criticize him, I need to stop myself and say, you know what? He's just who he is. And I can't change him. And one of the reasons why I criticize him is because he's not like me. I am an overachiever. I am a people pleaser, and I am a get everything done and get it done right now kind of person. And so when I ask him to do something and he doesn't do it, it drives me crazy. And again, it's me, right? I asked him to do something. He didn't do what I asked him to do. And then I get upset because he didn't do what I expected him to do. So it's all me. So I have learned to stop being so critical because, he doesn't understand the way my brain works. His brain works completely differently. I am a schedule person. I am a taskmaster. Everything's written down on a notepad, and I cross things off as I'm getting them done. And, I've actually had to explain to him that, like, when I ask you to do something, it's because I need it done right now, because I can't do it myself, and it needs to get done right this second. And now he knows to ask me, does it need to be done right now? And so I'm learning to be less critical of, him not being like me. And he shouldn't be like me. I don't want him to be like, I don't want anybody to be like me, because I'm freaking neurotic. Like, it's insane. I don't want anybody to be like me. So please, nobody try to be like me. But it's just, we want everyone to be like us. We want everyone to think like us. We want everyone to understand things the way we do. And when they don't follow our logic or our flow or whatever, we become critical. And we have to just learn to accept that other people are who they are. And we can't make somebody be anything other than who they are, regardless of how much we want them to be different. We can't force somebody to be different, and it's not fair to them to try and make them be something that they're not, to make them be who we want them to be, because if everybody was what everybody else wanted, nobody would be unique or individual, and it would be a really, really crappy world to live in. So learning to really rein in the thoughts and the feelings, and shifting your viewpoint on things, and being conscious and consciously aware of what you're doing, where your thoughts are heading, and what your brain is actually putting you through. And it's not even your brain, it's your monkey mind. So I really just wanted to come on today and just talk to people. Like, I want to be real with everybody. I want everybody to understand, like, I've been working on myself for 20 years. 20 years. I've been sober for 19 years. I meditate every day. I don't exercise as often as I'd like to, because sometimes I let life get in the way. I let other things, take priority over my own personal health. And we really need to make time for self-care. And I understand, that self-care is important, and, exercising and taking care of myself, eating well, is a priority. But, like, we're all human. We all suffer. We all struggle. And I'm hopeful that, in my struggle, and sharing with you that I struggle, that, you'll understand that you're not alone. And you're not the only one that's going through whatever it is you're going through. You may not be struggling with the same things I am. Nobody's, path is exactly the same. But I'm hopeful that, again, by hearing my story and hearing my struggles, it'll help other people to not suffer as much. And, that's pretty much, the reason why I do what I do, is I really just don't want people to suffer the way I've suffered. Because it's a horrible existence, listening to the monkey mind berate yourself for a day, 36 hours. I mean, it goes on constantly. Most of the time, I just ignore it. That takes a lot of practice, a lot of practice, because as a perfectionist, you can't even imagine how horrible my thoughts are. So, overachiever, always, striving to do more, be more, and it just pushes me and pushes me and pushes me to just run myself into the ground. And I have to fight back. I have to consciously fight back and say, you know what? No, today I'm just going to take it easy. I'm going to rest. I'm going to just veg and watch TV. I'm going to read a stupid book that has absolutely no meaning, but it's interesting because I just need something like that, and we all need that every once in a while. So, do whatever you can to take care of yourself, and always ask for help. Reach out to people. If you don't feel like you have anybody that you can trust or that you could lean on, feel free to send me a message. All of my information is here online. Reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, send me a message on YouTube. I really don't care. Like, send me a message, through email on my website. I'm more than happy to talk to you about, what's going on in your life and how I can help you, to shift your thoughts so that you don't struggle as much. And if you're watching this video on YouTube and, you found this content to be valuable, and, worth the watch, then, share it with someone. So share it with someone that, struggles with things, and, that can maybe just use a little tip on how to shift their thoughts. Subscribe to the channel, and, watch out for more videos, because I try to do them every week. Because I feel like I have a lot of really valuable information to share. And, you know, every week I might not share something that, floats your boat, but maybe one day something will pick your interest, and you'll, get something valuable out of it. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and enjoy life.